going to be talking about briefly about the structure of cells. Cell structure is primarily determined by 4 different factors. The first one is matter. So all cells are composed of atoms, molecules, and macromolecules, as everything, really. Second is energy. Energy is needed to produce molecules and macromolecules and to carry out many cellular functions. The third one is organization, and this is mainly what I'm going to be talking about. Molecules and macromolecules that make up a cell, they have specific sites where they can be found. All living cells can build and maintain internal organization. So for example, you'll find a lot of ribosomes in the RER, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, as well as you'll find, the RER is closer to the nucleus. Lysosomes are just freely in the cytoplasm. DNA is inside the nucleus, inside the nuclear envelope, so you do have specific places and quite often a compartmentalization of the cells, most particularly in eukaryotic cells. Although even prokaryotic cells, they have some kind of organization even though they don't have compartmentalization. The fourth thing is information. Instructions for cell structure and functions, namely genetic material. Every species has a distinctive genome which is passed from cell to cell and from parent to offspring. So our DNA, our genetic material, genetic information, that tells every cell their function, what they have to do in order for the organism to survive, whether it's a unicellular organism or multicellular organism. All cells have these 3 things in common. All cells have DNA, which is that genetic material. It can be either in the nucleoid in prokaryotic cells or in the nucleus in eukaryotic cells. I'll show you pictures of this later on when I'm talking about specific kind of cells. All cells have a cytoplasm, which is basically a cytosol plus where organelles can freely exist. And all cells have a plasma membrane, which surrounds the cell. The organelles in the cytoplasm vary, as well as certain organizational parts of it, for example, nuclear envelope, etc., etc. Some cells also have, for example, cell walls, as I will mention later on. Now, cell size. There is a reason for cell size. Cells can be, and that has to do with the surface area and to volume ratio. This is in order to guarantee optimization of the space that they have. So for example, cells, let's see, how can I explain this? Okay, cells, they need the plasma membrane is what basically allows for cells to communicate with the exterior. So they carry out their functions through the plasma membrane. They either secrete substances that they don't need, so waste, and they take up what they need for cell function, and they let out whatever is needed, like proteins, hormones, depending on the cells, etc., etc. However, if it's like this one, if you have this much area, you have this kind of surface area, it will be kind of effective if it has this much area in this kind of cube for that to be exchange of materials from the inside and the outside of the cell. However, if you divide that exact same area into tiny little cubes, each cube will have a much larger surface area to volume ratio. Much larger surface area compared to this one. Although the volume that these both occupy is the same. This one has a larger surface area, so the surface area to volume ratio is smaller. This means that this one guarantees a better optimization of the space in terms of communication between the inside and the outside of the plasma membrane of the cell. I hope that wasn't very confusing. If it was, I can always explain it again, so let me know.